Hey everybody, welcome to my newest Let's Play. This is going to be a little different from my last one. My last one I did Slender, the 8 pages. I'll just listen to that music for a minute. But anyway, this one is on, as you can see, Face Noir. You probably don't know much about me unless you're one of my friends that are happening to view this video. But I love film noir. I love, the novels, the books, and the hard-boiled detective stories and everything. And I actually did a demo of this game when I first heard about it because it looked interesting, but if the gameplay sucks, the gameplay sucks no matter how good the story, the design, or style of the game is. But I did the demo and I was fairly impressed, so I went ahead and got the game, and here is your Let's Play of it. Now, I've already started a bit of a game to work with sound, make sure I have everything up and well, but we'll just start it from the beginning. Now these names that are popping up, I'm not sure if they're voice actors, character names, or both, because the character you play as is Jack Del Nero, and maybe they just use the voice actor's name or something, but we'll have to see. I like that Leroy Malone. That really fits well into this game style, and this is era style and style of writing and such. I'll be quiet for the opening.
Greta, I have to stop that plane from leaving.
What are you going to do?
I don't know yet. You get the car. It's hidden in the trees near the entrance. The keys are on the dash.
Okay.
Keep the engine running. We need to leave as soon as I get the girl.
Jack.
Yes?
Be careful.
There's no time to be careful. Not this time. Greta, go. Dannazione. It's too late.
It looks like you're too late, Del Nero.
What are you doing here? Why aren't you on that plane?
I hate traveling. I'm not the kind of guy who crosses the desert on a camel. I prefer the comfort of the big city. Moreover, had I left, I would have missed the chance to deal with you. You made me look ridiculous in the eyes of the organization, and I don't have any intention of letting you get away with it.
And what do you want to do? Kill me? I can see it on your face that you've never shot anyone. You're not that kind of guy. You send your men to do your dirty work.
You're right. I've never shot anyone, even though many men and women died because I ordered it.
How brave.
But there's a first time for everything. It was destiny, Del Nero.
It had to be a little past 4 in the afternoon. I had just lit one of the many cigarettes that fill my days with no clients, when a middle-aged guy comes into my office with 2 caterpillars for eyebrows and a cigar hanging from his mouth. He introduces himself as Harvey Weber, the owner of Weber Company, a meat house in Larchmont. After 10 minutes of pointless chatter about his job, he gives me a photograph. Susan Weber, 20 years old, Harvey's stepdaughter. He tells me all about her carefree lifestyle, her dreams of becoming an actress, and how she hasn't come home in weeks. But how he keeps getting bills for clothes, shoes, and other things that might catch the eye of a 20-year-old girl with a well-heeled old man. Harvey, because of his divorce agreement with his ex-wife, is responsible for supporting the girl until she turns 21. So the kid decides to take advantage of her old man while she can and spend as much as possible until she turns 21. But Harvey Weber isn't one to sit on his hands, and he got his attorneys on the case. They think that if Susan were caught having an affair that her old man wouldn't know of, it could bring the evidence to court and get her cut off. Just one photograph would do it, according to Harvey. I take the job. I'll get him that photograph. The whole thing will cost him $30 a day, plus expenses. paid in advance. Harvey gives me a check for $30 and leaves my office. I cash the check, toss down something that can be called a dinner, and I'm already in Harlem. A few dollars got me a tip that Harvey Weber's kid might be around here. At the Last Heaven Hotel, to be precise.
Last Heaven's not a bad name. Not anything great, but it works for this setting.
According to the information that I have, a few days ago, some blondie went on a shopping spree here in Harlem. In this neighborhood, if you have money to spend on clothes and jewelry, it's easy to get noticed. I even managed to find out that the girl was seen entering the Last Heaven Hotel. I'd better ask a few questions.
Kind of reminds me, Last Heaven reminds me of Final Heaven, which was the ultimate attack of Tifa in Final Fantasy VII and Zell in Final Fantasy VIII. Now I'm going to show you an interesting tidbit over here.
The Second Life of Miss Gray, a film by Howard Paul, starring Vivian Leight. Vivian Leight, that's the same name that Harvey Weber gave me. From what he told me, his daughter greatly admires that actress.
Vivian Leight is a play on of Vivian Leigh, who starred in the probably most famous role was Gone with the Wind, which honestly I've never cared for that movie myself. But at the same time, you know, I don't think she was in any, as far as I know, she wasn't in any like hard-boiled detective film noir, which is what this game is. But it's definitely a shout out to that actress of that time. And Howard Paul, I'm not sure if that's a play on of Howard Hawks or something else I'm missing. But Howard Hawks was the director for Big Sleep, which was definitely a hard-boiled film noir movie. Another thing is, the cigarettes here are Old Marlowe, which is the cigarettes that the main character carries in this game. Philip Marlowe was the character in all of Raymond Chandler's books, and he wrote The Big Sleep, so obviously the character that Bogart played in The Big Sleep was Philip Marlowe. But this isn't a trivia lesson. Let's just start and get in the game. Now, like I said, I did the demo, so I know how to get through this first part. Talk to this guy.
Down and reading the newspaper.
Oops.
I should have
Wrong
been a
button.
reception clerk.
Click the right mouse button to do things like you can talk, look, interact, such like that.
Hi, do you own this place?
Well, it depends on who wants to know.
I'm a friend of one of your guests.
The last guy who introduced himself as such destroyed a room for a thing about lovers. So pardon me if I'm a little wary of friends of my guests.
Now, I know the correct dialogue here to do, so I'm going to go through different dialogue throughout the game, even if it's not the right one. Of course, later I won't know, so I may happen to pick the correct one first, but I'm a big fan of dialogue in games, so I will do that. I haven't done this one yet, because I know this is the right answer.
Police.
We're in Harlem, son. And if there's something that you learn in this neighborhood, it's to recognize a policeman. And you're not one.
I'm a private detective.
A private detective. I guess someone has gotten himself in trouble.
More or less. It's about a girl.
A girl, you say? There are a lot of them here. And for a few bucks, they can give you a night that will stay in your memories for a long, long time.
She's not a prostitute. Susan Weber. White, medium frame, blonde hair, 20 years, and pretty enough to cause her some troubles. Have you seen her?
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not used to giving out information about my guests to the first person who happens by. People come here to have a place where no one can find them, and not just for a place where to sleep. And I try to help them with that as much as I can.
Come on, don't make a fuss. Tell me where I can find Ms. Weber.
Sorry, but you won't get anywhere by being pushy.
Tell me where I can find the girl.
I've already told you that you won't get anywhere in this way.
You actually can't win this one with dialogue. I know what to do, and I'll show you in a minute, but this is one of the dialogue options I find myself to enjoy.
You must have a good imagination to call this hotel Last Heaven.
No fantasies or sentimentalities. They're not for me. At least not anymore. This hotel belonged to my brother, Louis Fitzgerald Heaven. There were 9 of us, and he was the youngest. That's why people called him the Last Heaven. When he bought the hotel, he didn't have any doubts about what to call it. At that time, this place was falling apart, but Louis was sure he could turn it into a good hotel, and he made it.
How come it's you running it now?
My brother can't take care of it anymore. In October 1926, some redneck who missed the good old days of slavery refused to pay his 3-day rent for the room. He said that he would have never given money to a Negro. When my brother threatened to call the police, the guy pulled out a gun and pulled the trigger. Shot him in the guts. My brother died almost immediately. Even though he was small, he never let anyone to push him around. And what we all thought of as equality eventually turned out to be what killed him. The hotel stayed closed for years, and it was I who reopened it 5 years later, but without my brother, it wasn't the same hotel anymore.
Did the police get the killer?
Well, you already know the answer. One day, great men will be able to change how things are, and there won't be any more hatred between blacks and whites.
Nowadays, they name streets in New York after these great men. And when that happens, it means they didn't meet with a happy ending.
The reason I like that dialogue is it doesn't really, I doubt, unless it comes later into play, it doesn't really add anything to the main story, but even such a small side character as this guy here, it gives a little backstory and story to it, which is really nice. Another thing I like about the game is when you do dialogue options,
Forget about it.
a lot of times it'll position the character, like right here, it positions the camera.
Doesn't pay too much. I'm sure that with a little encouragement, you would tell me more.
Try not to speak of the dialogue too much, but it positions the camera right behind the character in a way that's kind of shadowed, and I think it works really well for the style. Now, to open the inventory, there are 2 different options. One's a 3D mode where you can actually examine the item, and one's a 2D detective mode. And unless I really want to show you guys an item, which will probably happen once or twice, then I'll switch to the 3D mode, but for the most part I'm staying in 2D. But it took me a while to figure this out. I was clicking buttons and shit, it didn't work. You have to go to the top here and select your items, which I like this mode because it's very reminiscent of the old school adventure games. So he said a little encouragement, so what better encouragement? My bad.
$10 should be more than enough
Mid
for
money.
some information. These might make you change your mind.
Money to buy information? That must be one important girl you're looking for.
Enough for someone to hire me.
You know, lately, a lot of people like you have come by. They ask questions, look for people. Once, this hotel was considered one of the best in Harlem. Now it's become a shelter for criminals, easy women, and people who are running away from something. All it took was a couple of years of recession to turn New York into a cesspool. I wonder where this city's going to end up.
Where it always has. Nowhere.
You're always headed somewhere. Good or bad, you always have a direction. The day that New York will be rotten through and through, that will be the day that the good God himself will come down to crush it.
Don't count on that. I know people in this city who would manage to bribe your good God with a couple of well-aimed compliments.
Son, I guess you're not a believer.
I believe in whiskey, and in all those things that I can explain in a day.
Well, without faith, it's impossible to survive in this city. Everyone needs something to believe in.
Probably I just don't have anything worth believing in yet. Anyway, let's end this catechism lesson, and tell me where I can find the girl.
You said her name is Susan Weber?
Susan Weber, with 2 B's.
Susan Weber. Oh, you gave me money in exchange for information, but who says that I have any?
Dannazione, you must have a list with the names of your guests.
As I told you earlier, this hotel is a place where half the tenants are poor devils trying to get away from something. They usually don't give their real names. 100 John Smiths, a dozen George Washingtons, even a couple of Charlie Chaplins pass through this hotel.
So there is no room under the name Susan Weber?
That's right, son. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. If you want, you can take your money back.
Keep it. I'm sure it'll come in handy.
I believe in whiskey, and everything I can explain in a day. I love that line. It really works well with the hardboiled character and such. Though I do have to say, if as a detective, he should be expecting people to give fake names in sleazy hotels like this. So remember correctly, you talk to him again, and you'll get more dialogue options.
What else can I do for you?
Do you have any idea where I can find Susan Weber?
Well, I told you, no one leaves their real names here, and Harlem is full of blondies like the one you described.
I have a question for you.
Tell me.
Now this is pretty cool. I did this in the demo. On this screen you will find the information you've collected during your investigation. Now you have to use your head. Select two pieces of information to connect. There is a connection. You will gain new insight that you can use to further your investigation. Please remember, if you can't find a connection you may not have on the information you need to get ahead, so roll up your sleeves and get back to the investigation. I think that's really cool. That's a really good idea to put in here. Kind of reminds me of L.A. Noir. I don't think you never did that in L.A. Noir, but it does. But I know the two options here. It's actually really easy, but I'll go through them all. A blondie in Harlem. Blondie was last seen in the Last Heaven Hotel in Harlem. It could have been Susan Weber, which of course it was. Susan's passion. Susan Weber's old man claims that his daughter, if I'm fucking moving around, greatly admires an actress named Vivian Lake. The guests of the Last Heaven Hotel don't make a habit out of leaving their real names in the register. I'm not going to give it away right this minute. Give you guys a couple seconds, see if you guys can figure it out before I give the answer. You probably already have it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The fake name and the fact they give fake names.
Is there a woman called Late among your guests?
Late, yes. She matches your description. White, young, and blonde. Is she the woman you're looking for?
Yes. What room is she in?
Room 313, third floor, end of the hallway.
Thanks.
Now I'm going to try to keep these.
I don't have anything else to ask you.
Well, if you need me, I'm here.
These videos 20 minutes or less. That's what I can do them in segments. I'm going to shoot the next part right after this one, but I am going to close this off and stop recording and have this video set and then start a new one. So until next time, which will probably be time anybody will watch this, the second video will probably be up, but until then, peace. Oh, one more thing before I go. Dannazione, whatever he says a lot, look that up, and it means it's Italian for damnation, so I pretty much like saying like damn, damn, where is she, or whatever. So there's that. Cool.